Hello everyone, I'm Elena and this is Applewood Tarot. This is my latest card comparison video where I compare and contrast various iterations of individual tarot cards. Today we'll look at the High Priestess. I've heard a fair amount of readers say that they relate to the High Priestess, that it's how they identify themselves or what have you. I can't help but wonder how many of them are stating the truth and how many are putting up a front. I see why they would want to be seen that way. The name sounds grand and esoteric. She's mysterious, psychic, and ruled by the moon. She has access to the hidden. But she's also silent, and that's the thing. She doesn't perform this role, she earned it. She is a guardian at the gate between the worlds. The magician wants to bring his desire from one world into another. To do that, he must get past the High Priestess. What she guards is accessible to anyone, but not everyone, and that's an important distinction. If she deems you unworthy, you simply will not make your way past her. The Smith-Waite priestess expresses this well. She sits, quietly reading a sacred text, and waits for you to make a move. You might be put off by her and intimidated into turning back. Or you might try to push past her and work things out for yourself. You can see behind her, after all, and it's only water, so it can't be that hard to figure out, right? I admit I have difficulty when this card turns up in a reading. I am the type to wait, right along with the priestess, until I feel she'll let me through. Between the fact that she is so quiet and my feelings of inadequacy, it can take a while before I'm confident enough to move forward, though I know I want it enough not to turn back. Less intimidating is the High Priestess of Tarot Landscapes at the bottom left. This place feels secretive, like it has hidden wonders that can only be discovered with time and gentle searching. That's precisely what the priestess calls for. Think of encounters with the natural world. Humans tend to be obnoxious and pushy. They shove cameras in animals' faces, staring and being overly loud, then are surprised when nature reacts with aggression. They forget courtesy, not only of the humankind, but also the animal kind. The rules of the other worlds are different than ours. Few are willing to respect or follow them. Like in fairy tales, not everyone who encounters magic treats it with the respect and sanctity it deserves. This then affects the quality of the results. Take the ugly stepsister trope. Her ugliness doesn't come from her looks alone. She also has an ugly attitude, is mean, manipulative, etc. The heroine's beauty also comes from somewhere other than her looks. She is kind, helpful, and humble. I'm not talking about performing for the patriarchy. I mean to show that you have to be honest about what you want, why you want it, and what you must become to achieve it. Magic knows when you're being honest. You will get gold and jewels, or toads and tar according to your own efforts. What will you learn from your results? Above this is the High Priestess from the Alice Tarot. Here is the most active of these cards. Alice is in the act of moving from one world into another. My guess is this is a return from the other side. She holds a red chess-knight, reminiscent of the pomegranate we see in the Smith-Waite's tapestry, as well as the mythical Persephone. It's a symbol of the lasting effects of visiting the other side. She looks serene, as if she's done this before, which she has. This scene is from through the Looking Glass, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. In this book, she makes the conscious decision to pass through the mirror into Looking Glass House, as she calls it, as opposed to impulsively giving chase to the white rabbit in the first book. She purposefully uses her natural abilities to find her own way on this journey into the other. The Divine Feminine Tarot's priestess at the bottom right is also active, though not so much in the physical sense. She looks to be in the act of receiving divine power. Perhaps she's channeling for a querent that has stopped by to see her. It's a powerful image, the most charged of these. I love how I see the priestess, but I feel that something else is present, almost like it's wearing her for the time being. This is one reason I'm skeptical of those who identify as her. I wonder if they may be enamored with the wrong thing. They fall for the guru instead of the source of the guru's power. The High Priestess, as I've said, is like a door. If a door does its job well, you mostly forget it's there until you need it. I don't know if some people I've seen truly know how to set themselves aside and put the work first. The High Priestess is also often compared to the Sphinx, asking riddles to those who approach her. Again, I don't know if most people remember how dangerous these kinds of sphinxes are. In Greek myth, she devours those who fail to answer her riddle correctly. And when it is answered correctly, the sphinx dies, either by her own doing or someone else's. This brings to mind the King of the Wood situation in The Golden Bough, and it adds another layer to the priestess. Initiation requires surviving the unknown. You have to be willing to put yourself on the line, allow yourself to be ripped apart and put back together different than how you were before. To progress on the magical journey, you must become other. When thought of in this way, do you still want to approach the High Priestess? Do you still want to be her? If so, are you willing and capable of the ferocity her position requires? Be honest. In honor of the Sphinx and the High Priestess's role between the worlds, I'll ask you a riddle. When is a door not a door? Leave your guess in the comments. At the top right is the High Priestess from Tarot of the Sacred Feminine. Multiple figures are depicted here. The priestess is the human woman in the foreground. Behind her is an aspect of divinity in the guidebook called Shekinah, I believe it's pronounced, the wisdom of God. The angels or angelic statues at the sides bow to divine wisdom. That this all takes place behind the priestess expresses that these powers work through her. So again, we see her function as an access point or a go-between between the worlds. She allows or withholds access to information from the other side. It's difficult to see even in person, but the enthroned figure at the back, Shekinah, has similar coloring to the priestess up front. This may imply that divine wisdom is already inside and accessible to each of us. It's only a matter of how to listen to it. That the priestess wears white indicates that she is at least spiritually pure, or has been purified in order to do this work. It's a big responsibility, and it explains her stillness overall. The Fool and Magician are focused mostly on themselves and their own wants. The High Priestess is responsible for others. Not necessarily only those of us in the human world, but the others as well. She, in a way, is interchangeable with anyone else ready to do the job. The Empress, as Divine Mother, as well as mothers in general, is often seen as a vessel for creation. But who our mothers are and how they raise us has such impact on our lives that an empty vessel doesn't quite do it for me as a symbol for that. It much better suits the High Priestess, whose job it is to allow the other to flow through her unencumbered. I'm sure that many people disagree and feel that who the priestess is actually quite important. And that's true to an extent. There's obviously a lot of room for nuance here. But don't confuse her function with that of the Hierophant, her male counterpart. In tarot, the male expresses outwardly and the female expresses inwardly, if that makes sense. The Hierophant is spiritual authority and tradition. He reaches out to and teaches less spiritual folk. The High Priestess not only waits for you to come to her, but she doesn't hold your hand through the process. She says her piece and leaves you to do the work of application. You may really dislike what she tells you, but it is what it is. She's like the tarot itself in that way. She very much will sass you if you keep pulling cards trying to get the answer you want instead of the answer she gave. Also, to my point of her being interchangeable to a degree, as much as we love looking at so many decks and the extra information we gather from different artwork, you need only one deck in order to read the cards. Anything more than that is nice to have, but entirely unnecessary. That's all for now. Thank you for joining me and continuing to listen to my thoughts on the cards. These videos also help me to see beyond what they might mean in the context of a mundane reading. It adds to the characters and scenes and helps bring them to life that much more. I hope you get something similar out of it. Thank you again. See you next time.